One of the popular up-and-coming sports is cage fighting or mixed martial arts. When a lot of people think about the UFC, sometimes there's a bad misconception about these athletes that are competing. Some people think that they're cage fighters, or they're just people that are barbarically going in and they're beating each other up, and they're just in there fighting it out and duking it out. But the truth is that mixed martial arts fighters require high levels of athleticism, dedication, and most fighters are actually skilled in more than one or two different types of martial arts. Good morning, class. Com 200. Today I'm going to be speaking about the athleticism, dedication, and the style of martial arts. So first let's get started here. Whenever it takes to be a competitor in something like the UFC or any other type of maybe smaller show, these athletes, these cage fighters, these modern day warriors, it takes more than just being able to know how to kick or punch or maybe some wrestling. A lot of times these athletes will be avid runners, and they do multiple types of cross training, plus they do weightlift training and drills, and so they're not always just kicking and punching. They're not always just throwing fists. They're well trained, well-rounded athletes. And to be a well-rounded athlete, we need to talk about their dedication. Most of the time, these athletes are when they're training for a fight, their bodies are hurting, they're beating up, they're beaten up, they're hurt. And it takes for them to just get up and go and make it into the gym. It takes a lot of dedication. Oftentimes, a UFC fighter or a mixed martial arts fighter will spend 2.5 hours a day in the gym, just training, preparing their bodies, and so the athleticism and the dedication all kind of work together. And that's why when you see these guys and they get in the cage, you're looking at an athlete who is who has a very toned, athletic body. And finally, to become an MMA fighter, you can't just be a black belt in karate. You can't just be a wrestler. You can't just be a jiu-jitsu fighter, a Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter. You have to know all those aspects. Plus, a lot of times these guys train in kickboxing, they train in wrestling, they train in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, because a fight doesn't necessarily, it's not like boxing. They're not just standing. They don't just draw a line and these fighters just don't go up and they have to be well-rounded. In case a wrestler comes up and tries to take them to the ground, they have to know what to do when they're on the ground. If they're fighting somebody that's a stand-up fighter, they have to know what they're doing in a stand-up situation. So, really, when you look at it and you look at the styles of these guys, these athletes, and men and women that get in the cage, they are well-toned, well-rounded athletes. And that's why, they're not just these barbarians that are stepping in the cage just duking it out. These guys have countless hours in the gym, learning multiple types of martial arts disciplines. They're just amazing things. Amazing athletes. So in closing, I've talked about the athleticism that it takes. It's more than just kicking and punching. You got to be out there. They got to be running on the road. They got to have their cardio good, because oftentimes these fighters will fight for 15 minutes. They have to have the dedication. They have to have the heart. They have to want it. They have to, when their body is bruised and broken, they wake up and they get in the gym and they go at it another day. And lastly, their styles. That they have to know multiple styles. If they're one-dimensional when they get in the cage, their opponent might notice that, and they'll get picked apart. So next time you guys see UFC on television, or you think about MMA, just think about the athleticism. Think about the dedication and style, and the style differences that these fighters go through. They're amazing athletes, and they're just definitely some athletes that I look up to, and they're not just barbarians punching it out.